Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rider Ramblings. This is the calm between the storms. At the moment, we had a storm last night, and they're threatening storms for this afternoon as well. Anyhow, this is Rider Ramblings 125 Take 2. I actually did a recording previously, and I've decided not to put it out because it's probably a bit too contentious and I can't verify some of the claims that I made or things that I'd heard. So I'm doing it again. Anyhow, this is about the unrest in France and what's what. As you can see, I'm fine. As you can see in this area, there's no problem. I think the nearest problems were about 5 miles away approximately, there or thereabouts. We did hear some of the fireworks, as the protesters have been using fireworks as weapons against the authorities. So yeah. Anyhow, right, let's get into the story. Now, I've verified everything I'm about to say as much as I can, and with what's available. So this isn't just conjecture; it's information that has come from multiple sources. Right, first of all, a 17-year-old who is not allowed to drive a car was stopped by the police. Now, this 17-year-old was already well known to the police, having been stopped on a number of occasions and having been in front of the police, justice or whatever, 5 times. Though some are saying 7, let's say 5, because that seems to be the one that people are going with. Now, he is also known to be violent towards the police. Now, this is more than one report on this, that the police are saying that when he's been stopped, he's been violent, belligerent, and generally unpleasant. So, I'm not surprised, as he's already been known to the police, that one of the officers had their weapon drawn, because a car can be used, and is frequently used, as a lethal weapon. So, yes. Now, the police did say that he drove the car at them, but according to the video evidence, there's no evidence of this. Whether he drove the car at them before the video started recording, we don't know. We have no evidence. So, anyhow, after being stopped, the 17-year-old decided to drive off and try and evade capture, and at this point he was shot by a police motorcycle officer. Now, whether he should have been shot or not is not something we're going to discuss on this, but that's what happened. He didn't get very far, and he died after crashing the car, but he died because of the gunshot wound, not necessarily for crashing the car. There were 2 other people in the car with him. The other person in the front seat was arrested immediately, and the person in the back seat did a runner, but later handed himself in to the police as a witness, they say. This was about 3 or 4 days later. Anyhow, the first night after this, it was, I'm going to say, relatively calm. There wasn't very many problems. I think that's the Tuesday night, but I can't exactly remember the days now. And then the following night, the looting started. And this was just pure criminal behaviour. It was just literally looting. They were breaking into the shops and stealing whatever they could. It didn't matter what it was. I mean, now, at this point, the French public don't have a sort of... They say, oh, it's bad, but they're not against it, because there's this sort of pervasive thing in France that entrepreneurship is not good. They don't like entrepreneurs, and they don't really like entrepreneurship. So the fact that, you know, shops and supermarkets and these types of things were being looted was, how can I put it, not really of importance. Oh, it looks like this is blocked. This is going to make a fun day of it. Anyhow, so basically public opinion wasn't against the looters, but it wasn't for the looters either. There was, you know, it was just a case of, yeah, well, you know, this is normal. Right. After that, so that was the next night. The following night, it got really bad. Not just Paris, but most of France. And again, this was serious looting, with the occasional public building being targeted. But I mean, we're talking really serious looting, not just a bit looting. I mean, we're talking, this is, you know, this was really out of hand, and all over France. So then, on Friday evening, the modus operandi changed quite considerably. There was a lot less looting and a lot more targeting of public buildings. A lot of the town halls were burnt, a lot of the schools were set on fire, the police stations were attacked and set on fire, community halls were set on fire, and it was really pretty terrible. And this started sort of Friday evening, and it became an attack on basically a lot of the infrastructure in France. So that started then, and it got worse on. Well, that was the worst night, the Friday night, but the police and the authorities then put up fencing and barbed wire and so on around a lot of the public and municipal buildings and so on. So they decided to attack the mayor's homes, and one in a place called Le Haye-aux-Roses was attacked, and quite badly attacked, and then there were a couple of other problems, but not so quite severe, in other parts of France. At which point public opinion turned against the rioters, seriously turned against the rioters, and so on. But why, for example, did the modus operandi change? As I say, you know, on Friday evening, and they started going after the municipal buildings. It could well be that a lot of the shops and businesses were boarded up, and in areas where most of the looting takes place, they'd already looted a lot of the high value stuff, and so on. So that could have been the reason. So that's that. Now, the rioters, and so on, have been using fireworks and petrol bombs against the police and the authorities, and to use to set fire to the buildings and this type of thing. Now, in France, a normal person, it's difficult for a normal person to actually get fireworks. You have to have a license and a good reason. So the fact that, there were a lot, and I do mean a lot, of fireworks used, we're talking, massive amount, goes to show that, blanket bans of things are totally useless, because all it does is it stops the law-abiding people having access to certain things, but the criminals still can get them no problem whatsoever. And this sort of proves it. Anyhow, calm to a certain extent has returned, but thousands, and I do mean thousands, of cars have been burnt, and of course a lot of this is not covered by insurance because it's riot and so on. So a lot of people have lost their cars, have lost a lot of money, and in fact the cars are leased or on a bank loan or something, and they've got to continue paying for something that they don't have. Now, that to me is not good. Not good at all. I don't appreciate that. Right. The police have arrested a lot of people. It's about 3,000, and it's probably more than that. Now, 30% are children under the age of 13. So it seems that they're either being persuaded to riot, or the older rioters are using the children to cover themselves, should we say. And so that's the situation there. As I say, 30%. That's according to the courts. Just 30% of all those being brought in front of the courts are minors. And although they could be sent to a secure unit, they probably won't be. And under French law, the parents actually can go to jail for up to a year, but I doubt that will happen either. And I believe the maximum fine for the parents is 45,000 euros. But I doubt that will happen either. I very much doubt it. So, that's the situation. And a sort of calm has returned, which is good, because in about 10 days' time, approximately 8 or 9 days' time, it's the 14th of July, which is, as we call it in the UK, Bastille Day, but as the French call it, it's Independence Day. on that. So yeah. And so there are big parades and usually lots of fireworks, but of course they're now completely banned, so we probably won't see the fireworks. And so on, and they're trying to get calm restored for the 14th. French, right, changing the subject, French holidays have started. Though I haven't really noticed a diminution in the traffic. There are some, but there is a little bit of calm. But it's still quite busy. Really, the holidays don't kick off until after the 14th. That's when most people go on holiday, because the 14th is a public holiday, so they can use one less of their holiday days. I know they get a lot, but they can use one less of them in those situations and so on. So we won't see calm return for another 10, or traffic calming return for another 10 days or so. Okay, so that's the situation. Things are relatively calm, as you can see on the route which I've taken. There's no sign of damage or destruction. So it's just certain areas and basically where they can get high value items easily on that. So I'll say thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.